the late-night drive home after what felt like just another ordinary date. The conversation had been light, filled with easy laughter and shared stories about nothing particularly profound. Yet as he pulls into the driveway and watches you walk to your door, something inside him shifts without warning. A quiet certainty settles in his chest, one he hasn't felt before. He doesn't text you right away. He doesn't need to. In that single, unremarkable moment, he knows. He wants you, not just for now, not just for the spark that still lingers from the evening, but in a way that feels permanent. Most women never witness this moment directly. They sense its after effects in changed behavior, in the sudden steadiness of his presence, in the way future plans begin to include them without hesitation. But the exact instant it happens remains hidden, wrapped in the private workings of a man's inner world, where desire meets decision and attraction deepens into something more enduring. This moment rarely arrives during the flash of initial chemistry or the excitement of early dates. It emerges later, often after the surface thrill has had time to quiet, when the mind has had space to test the connection against deeper, unspoken needs. Patterns in relationship dynamics show that men frequently experience this internal turning point, not as a dramatic revelation, but as a subtle recalibration. What they once viewed as a pleasant possibility suddenly becomes an essential truth. The woman who is enjoyable company transforms, in his perception, into the one he cannot imagine letting slip away. And the trigger is almost never what popular narratives suggest. It is not the perfect outfit, the most captivating story, or even the strongest physical pull. Instead, it tends to surface in moments of quiet authenticity, when the guarded layers men often maintain begin to feel safe enough to lower. Consider how many relationships hover in that uncertain middle ground. Dates flow smoothly for weeks or months. Interest is clear on both sides. Yet he holds back, offering affection in measured doses while keeping one foot subtly pointed toward independence. Then one evening, perhaps after a long day, when exhaustion has stripped away pretense, she shares something vulnerable without expecting him to fix it. She simply lets him see her as she is, uncertain, human, trusting that he can hold the moment without being overwhelmed by it. In that exchange, something aligns. His mind, which has been quietly assessing whether closeness will cost him his sense of self, registers a profound sense of relief. Research in attachment psychology suggests that many men, shaped by cultural expectations to appear self-sufficient, carry an internal vigilance about emotional entanglement. The moment they know they want someone often arrives when that vigilance finally eases, replaced by a surprising sense of expansion rather than restriction. Being with her does not diminish his autonomy. It somehow enlarges it. This shift is deeply tied to the way men process respect and admiration within intimacy. Patterns often show that while initial attraction may spark from physical presence or shared energy, lasting desire crystallizes when a man feels genuinely respected for who he is beneath the roles he plays. Not flattered, not idealized, but seen and valued in his everyday efforts, his quiet strengths, even his ordinary struggles. Imagine a conversation where she notices the way he handled a difficult situation at work, not with exaggerated praise, but with a calm acknowledgement that reflects true understanding. In that instant, his nervous system registers safety in a way it rarely does. The exact moment is rarely announced with words. It registers as an internal click, a release of tension he may not have realized he was holding. Suddenly, the idea of building a life alongside her stops feeling like a risk and begins to feel like the most natural evolution of what already exists between them. Yet this moment carries layers that reach back into earlier emotional patterns. Many men enter adulthood with an ingrained belief that their value in relationships is tied to what they can provide or achieve. The world has taught them, often indirectly, that emotional openness can be a liability. So they test the waters of connection carefully, revealing pieces of themselves gradually while watching for signs that vulnerability will be met with criticism or demands. The turning point arrives when those tests are passed without fanfare. Perhaps it happens during a small disagreement that does not escalate into blame or withdrawal. She listens, offers her perspective without needing to win, and leaves space for him to remain himself. In that exchange, his mind makes an unconscious calculation. This connection does not require him to perform or shrink. It allows him to stand fully in his own skin. Experts in emotional development believe this kind of acceptance acts as a powerful signal, rewiring old associations between closeness and threat. What follows is often a quiet commitment that feels effortless because it no longer fights against internal resistance. The psychology deepens when we consider how modern dating compresses these natural timelines. Endless options and constant digital contact can keep interactions in a state of perpetual early-stage excitement, delaying the conditions under which that exact moment can emerge. A man might enjoy the thrill of messaging and occasional meetups for months without ever reaching the internal threshold of certainty. Then circumstances force a slower pace, perhaps an extended evening together, away from distractions, and the dynamic changes. He notices how her presence steadies him rather than stimulates him. The conversation drifts into topics that reveal shared values and quiet dreams, and something in him recognizes a future that feels compatible rather than confining. This is not about grand romantic gestures or intense passion. It is about the accumulation of small, consistent experiences that tell his deeper self this person belongs in his life story. The moment he knows often feels less like falling and more like arriving, as if a long, unspoken question has finally received its answer. Attachment patterns play a central role here as well. For men who lean toward avoidant tendencies, formed through early experiences where emotional needs were met inconsistently or dismissed, the path to this realization can be particularly winding. They may pull away precisely when connection begins to feel real, creating distance to regain equilibrium. Yet if the woman responds with steady warmth rather than pursuit or resentment, that very distance becomes the backdrop against which clarity emerges. He returns not out of guilt or pressure, but because the space has allowed him to feel the shape of his own longing. Patterns in couple dynamics indicate that this return often marks the exact moment of internal commitment. The fear of being engulfed by the relationship fades, replaced by the recognition that choosing her enhances rather than erases his individuality. In that shift, desire moves beyond the temporary highs of attraction into a steadier current of wanting to invest, to protect, to build. Communication carries its own hidden signals in this process. Men often express emerging certainty not through elaborate declarations, but through subtle changes in language and behavior. Future plans begin to include her naturally. Questions about her day carry a new weight of genuine curiosity, rather than polite interest. These shifts are outward signs of an inward decision that has already taken place. The exact moment itself may have occurred days earlier, perhaps during a quiet car ride when he glanced over and realized the thought of dropping her off and driving away alone felt wrong in a way it never had before. It is a private recalibration, one that aligns his actions with an emotional truth he may not yet articulate aloud. Understanding this can transform how these moments are experienced on both sides. Instead of searching for dramatic proof, attention turns to the quieter cues that reveal when his internal world has quietly aligned with hers. Even the body's own chemistry contributes to this threshold. The gradual release of bonding hormones during repeated positive interactions creates a neurobiological foundation that supports longer-term desire. What begins as the rush of novelty slowly gives way to the deeper satisfaction of familiarity and trust. For many men, the moment they know they want someone coincides with this transition, when the excitement of pursuit settles into the comfort of presence. It is as if the mind, having gathered enough data points of safety and mutual regard, grants permission for full emotional investment. This is why the realization often follows periods of ordinary time together rather than peak experiences. a shared meal cooked together, a walk after rain, a moment of laughter over something trivial. These become the unexpected catalysts because they allow the real person to emerge without performance. Of course, not every connection reaches this point. Some remain in the realm of pleasant companionship because the necessary conditions of emotional safety and mutual respect never fully align. A man may enjoy someone's company immensely, yet never cross that internal threshold if old patterns of self-protection remain too strong, or if the dynamic subtly reinforces his fears. Recognizing this prevents the painful misinterpretation of mixed signals. The absence of that exact moment is not always a reflection of her worth or their chemistry. It is often simply the result of two internal worlds that have not yet found their quiet convergence. This awareness brings a measure of grace to the uncertainties of dating, shifting focus from desperate analysis of his behavior to the steadier work of creating conditions where genuine knowing can occur. As relationships progress beyond that pivotal instant, the nature of wanting evolves further. What began as a private realization becomes a lived commitment expressed through consistent choice. He chooses to turn toward her during moments of stress rather than away. He chooses to share the parts of himself that still feel unfinished. These ongoing decisions rest on the foundation laid in that earlier, unseen moment when his mind first registered her as irreplaceable. The psychology of male desire in relationships thus reveals itself as less about conquest or constant passion and more about the profound relief of having found a partner who allows him to be both strong and human, both independent and deeply connected. In the end, the exact moment a man knows he wants you is rarely cinematic or easily described. It unfolds in the private theater of his thoughts, triggered by an accumulation of experiences that signal safety, respect, and the possibility of a shared future that feels expansive rather than limiting. It may happen during an ordinary conversation, a shared silence, or a small act of understanding that lands exactly where an old wound once lived. What matters is not the dramatic reveal, but the internal shift it produces, one that moves him from evaluation to embrace. For those navigating the landscape of modern relationships, this understanding reframes the entire process. It encourages patience with the natural rhythms of emotional unfolding and invites both partners to cultivate the conditions of trust and authenticity where such moments can arise naturally. When that quiet certainty finally settles in his chest, it carries the promise of something steadier than fleeting attraction. It signals the beginning of a connection built not on the illusion of perfection, but on the real and enduring choice to move through life together. And in recognizing the hidden nature of that moment, we gain a clearer view of how love truly forms, one private, realization at a time.